This is the Board of Health meeting, August 1st, 2024. We're meeting the land use room. Present at the meeting is Sue Braska.
Tom
Terry
Hibbert.
Putnam. Oh, sorry. Terry Putnam.
Tricia Sedlow.
There's no public comment. So the minutes of the meeting, the minutes of the June 6th meeting, were you able to take a look at them, Terry? Or did you find any problems?
No, I just looked at them a few
Okay.
minutes ago and I think they're fine.
Make a motion
I move that we accept the minutes.
of June 6th, 2024, along with that would be the main nursing report. I second that. All in favor?
Aye, Terry Putnam.
Sue Braska, yes. I'm thinking maybe, Trish Labiniak will join us. However, the meeting might be over by then, if
Okay.
she has to work tonight. Okay, Tricia,
Yes.
what do you,
So for July, we've been doing some presentations in our towns. On the 23rd, I did a sepsis presentation at the Southwick Library, which was attended by a few people and they enjoyed the presentation. I also did a falls presentation in Tolland at their senior lunch on the 25th. And we have Russell, we're doing Falls in Russell this month coming up. So we've been busy with presentations and getting a good groups of people, which is nice. I don't know if you noticed, but in the rear entry of the town hall in Southwick, we now have a bulletin board there. And that's the one we paid for with the grant money. So I did update that for like summer travel. So if you want to take a peek at that when you leave, we'll be doing like monthly things in those bulletin boards. And so far, go ahead.
did you provide the, septic wipes, the septic, sanitation stuff that's on there too? Is that from
Yes,
us?
yes,
Okay.
yes, that's ours, yes. And I think Russell's the only other one that put up their bulletin board thus far, so we're waiting on the other towns to get them up. Hopefully they'll do that this summer. We've been working on the maternal program resources. We're still waiting on Southwick Legal to approve the form that the parent would sign to agree to the consent. So we're still waiting on that. And I update the Southwick TV channel with Ken every so often. So I have like Lyme prevention in children up there and bird flu for farm workers, what to look out for, what to wear, how to protect themselves. So those will stay up for a couple of months. COVID is definitely here. And I know I'm not seeing a lot of cases. We're seeing cases, but I'm just hearing of cases. Like I know there was some in the police department in Southwick, and then just random people that I talked to, they're like, oh, I've had it. I've been sick for 2 weeks. And so it's definitely out there. What we expected, the last communication I had nationally was like, they're concerned with California because they think some locations may be cresting more than it did last summer, but nothing yet. They're just watching the wastewater. And then I think that's really all I've had. I've had few infectious. It's mostly, of course, tick-borne. And Marianne had to do a group A strep for me for Southwick when I was on vacation the first week in July. But otherwise, it's been pretty good. Busy summer for us. So,
You have any questions, Terry?
No, thank you. And I'll just tell you, one of the things I'm doing here in Pensacola is investigating a hospital that has a lot of falls because of their
Okay.
risk of falls. So very good at putting on that program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, have a great night, ladies.
Thank you
too,
very
Tom.
much. Doing a
Thank
great
you.
job.
Thank you.
Great job. Okay, so the food regs. Tom looked something up in the food code,
Yes,
and what did it say?
I sent that out this morning. So just in general, any Board of Health regulation that we pass cannot be less restrictive than the state regs. They can only be more restrictive.
Mhm.
So I did find in the food code, And I don't know if this was in the previous food code because they updated it in 2018. And our regulation predates that, so it could just be similar to the tobacco regs where we didn't match up. I don't recall what was in the food code before 2018, so either way, it's the food code states where's my quote start here? Expiration and renewal of permit. 1, a permit shall expire no later than 1 year from the date issued. And 2, an annual food establishment permit may be renewed by applying at least 30 days prior to the expiration of the permit on a form provided by the Food Code Regulatory Authority, which is us. Conditions of issuance. The Board of Health may renew a permit for an existing food establishment or may issue a permit to a new owner of an existing food establishment after a properly completed application is submitted, reviewed, and approved. Fees are paid and an inspection shows the establishment is in compliance with the food code. So yeah, so I think by that's saying the application has to be in 30 days before January 1st.
It says May,
Yeah,
May,
May. Yeah,
so they may apply for it 30 days ahead of time.
no, we may renew it if they do those things.
Read that sentence again, please.
Yes, a food establishment may be renewed by applying at least 30 days.
By applying at least 30 days.
And then for conditions of issuances, the Board of Health may renew a permit for existing food establishment or may issue a permit to a new owner.
See, I think our regs are fine.
So I think essentially by allowing them so we're saying the application has to be in by January 1st, which doesn't give much time to review everything if there's problems. And then we're saying if they apply after January 1st, that the only penalty is a $50 fine per week, and it stacks up 4 weeks. And then once February hits, it's $50 a day. So we're essentially saying, if you pay us some money, we will allow you to operate without a permit. So I think we should switch something along, and we'll see what legal counsel says. I mean, I sent this to them and haven't, last week I sent it to them and haven't heard back yet, which, I mean, it wasn't that, I didn't give them that much time to review it, so. But I think what we should do is establish a due date of December 1st, maybe a late fee mid-December. And then if people haven't renewed by January 1st, this is what we would do in Westfield. We would usually start with a warning, a phone call, an email, say, hey, you're not renewed. Technically you shouldn't be operating. But get us the application ASAP. And then
As of January 1st.
as of January 1st. And then if they operate into January, and they haven't renewed, we don't have to, but we would have the legal authority to send them a cease and desist for operating without a permit. We can also, I didn't copy that section in here, but in the food code, that for someone not renewing of operating without a license, that is something we could say, the board could say, we're not going to give you a license. So I think that obviously this year we're switching to a new platform, with the e-permitting. So even if we said the due date was December 1st, I would say we kind of give a grace period this year, because it's a whole different way of doing it, but.
See, it's because it says May. Is this where you're reading it from?
Yeah, I just copied this, starting at B, that is the quote.
But it kind of sounds like that may is for the board, that we may renew them.
Right.
We
may renew it if they send the application on time.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, didn't we have, not to pick on malicious, but didn't they have didn't they take a little while to renew?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
but to me, that's a seasonal thing, and if you don't open till,
right. So the
Yeah,
seasonal thing.
that's totally with that. I would
we
understand
should
that.
put maybe something in here about seasonal.
Yeah, so I think the way to handle that would be 30 days, you know, for annual permits, it would be December 1st, would be the due date. And then for anyone else, we could say 30 days before you plan to open.
Mm.
So for malicious, if Joe knows he's gonna open on May 1st, then April 1st or April 2nd, I guess would be 30 days, would be when he should get that permit in. We could do a late fee, so say it's 15 days before your opening. We could add a surcharge to the permit for late. Because that it does put a crunch and every once in a while you get the people that even some of the new establishments, they were in communication with us. But even still, I actually all three of the new ones, it was like a week before they opened, and I still didn't have a complete application.
Well, we
Which
might
is
not want to call it late because technically we're saying by the first of the next month, if they get there, but you might want to, we might want to think about if you renew by the middle of the month, then your price is this. If
right,
and the closer you get to that final due date, it's going to cost more.
right,
So we're just putting a
yeah,
spin on it because
right,
somebody would come back and say, I'm not late. If
right,
I put mine in on the 31st and it's due on the 1st, I'm not late.
right, yeah. Yeah, so we could come up with the wording for that, but it's stressful. It's definitely an extra burden when they come in and say, "Oh, we want to open next week," and
Mhm.
bring in the application. So I'm not, I think some boards in the state probably, you know, stand by the code and say, you didn't give us the 30 days. Sorry, you can't open. Um, I don't like to do that to people. I think if everything's good, and it just happens to be, we only have a week to review it, that's fine. But I would want it to be clear that, applications that aren't submitted 30 days before opening or before renewal, um, aren't guaranteed to be issued. You might not be able to open on your day if you're late because, what if they bring it in a week before they want to open and I'm on vacation?
Yeah, yeah.
Could we
That's
consider 15 days?
we could do that, or we could set the
Say 15 business days.
we could say I don't think we can do less, we can't be less restrictive. However, we don't have to fine until it's 15 days. So we could say it is due 30 days before. However,
It doesn't say,
if
it
you,
doesn't say it has to be 30 days.
it says they have to, the Board of Health may renew the permit if they apply at least 30 days prior to the expiration of the permit. That's how I read it. So, but we can say, that they have to do it by 30 days, but not penalize them. Say they do it on 15 days before they open, there's no penalty. If they do it less than, we could do maybe 2 weeks would be easier.
And I would
so-
also add that the no, a lot of businesses will say it takes X number of processing days. So, if you're saying 2 weeks, sometimes it takes 2 weeks to process or to process the application or a week to process the application. Then it puts the onus on them if they want to open by September 1st or whatever, they
Right,
need to give you at least a week or whatever you set that's reasonable.
right,
Um,
right. And also, I think 2 weeks would be good. Because for our annual renewals too, that puts us, that if that's when the fine starts, so theoretically at that point, everyone should have everything in, and that's before Christmas. Cause that always comes into it every year too. It's like,
Mhm.
you know, Christmas and New Year, businesses are closed, people in town hall are taking time off. And then it's tough to try and chase people down and say, hey, I don't want to give you a fine. I want you to be able to operate. Um, so if we kind of set that due date a little earlier, then, you know, there's not going to be any trying to chase people down during, you know, a week where it's hard to get people. So
Now, does the state say to fine them if they don't get it done by, say, the first of the year, or the first of the, whatever date you're saying it's due?
I believe
Or does the fine begin for the state after that, after it passes?
I don't have the full code in front of me, but I believe we may find them, but it's at the board's discretion. They
So,
don't, there's not like, it's not like the tobacco where there's, you know,
yeah,
if you do
yeah.
this, there's a set fine. I think they allow the individual boards a little more leeway on what our policies and procedures are gonna be regarding late fees and things like that.
So I still think it's semantics, but I think if we're thinking the 15 days prior, we give them an incentive to do it by that 15 days by making it cost less. You see what I'm saying? Or and incorporate what we would think about fining them as the cost on day number 16.
Right,
Okay.
right. So yeah, I would say something along the lines of renewal applications and new new applications are due 30 days prior to expiration slash opening.
I thought we was gonna do 14.
And then applications received less than 14 days before expiration slash opening will be charged X amount extra.
Yeah. We'll have a processing fee
Yeah,
or
it's a
something,
pro-
an
right.
expedited processing fee,
Right.
because you now have 2 weeks instead of the 30 days.
Right,
And that's, everybody sees that. I mean, if you pay your credit card late, you're gonna, if you're out of
Right.
your grace period, you're gonna pay a fine, a
Right.
penalty. So I think that, I know it's playing with words, but I think some astute person is gonna say, okay, you're charging me, you're saying I'm late, but the application is not due until the end of the month. So I think with that, you accomplish getting a little bit of
well,
notice.
the application, by the food code, the application would be due 30 days before they open
Oh,
or
okay.
before their
Okay.
permit expires.
Okay.
So we could say it's late. We wouldn't be able to shut them down for operating without a permit because their old permit is still valid.
Yeah. I
And
got it.
then, so then once we kick into the new year, then if they open, then they're technically operating without a permit.
Okay.
And no one likes that. No Board of Health likes to go in on
Mm-mm.
January 2nd to go,
Mm-mm.
you know, post and cease and desist. So, you know, we can still do a little grace period and say, you know, give them a little time to say, hey, you know, you shouldn't be operating, you're operating without a permit, get me that application as soon as possible. If you don't do it by the end of this week or end of next week, we're gonna have no choice but to send you a cease and desist.
Mm.
And hopefully that will get them to
Well, then
do it.
what we have here, then would kick in within a 7-day period beginning January 1st.
Right, we could keep finding after that, but
$50, would just say each week,
yeah,
not the first 3 weeks.
That would make an
$50. Oh,
impression.
no, $50 for each of the first 3 weeks, okay, and then per day, all right, so let's do that.
right,
That would make an impression for sure.
right. And we could even make it, you know,
That's already in.
do it for any applications received after January 1st, we could even go higher. Cause at that point, if we're saying the due date is 30 days before, at that point, they'd be over a month late.
Mm-hmm.
So we could make it even higher. That will make a difference. Cause honestly, I don't know that necessarily anyone here has done it, but I know like that's why the state changed the tobacco fees from 100, 200 and 300 for first, second and third violation to 1,000, 2,000 and 5,000. Some businesses, oh, you know,
Yeah.
$50.
Pay the
and
$200, yeah,
saves me
yeah.
some work. I don't care. It's, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to deal with that paperwork. I'll pay the money and do it on my own schedule. But if if it's a few hundred, that might get people to say, oh, I should do this. So, but I guess think we kind of have a rough plan, and we'll wait and see what town council says.
Or town council, does he have that?
This is the email that I sent him, so
Okay,
to Ben Coyle, so
if he
so
responds.
yeah, so I'm sure I'll get something back. If not, it's only been about a week, so I'll give him a little more time. Because I gave him a couple other documents to review, so so we'll give that
So we have to
some
just decide
time.
how you wanna word it.
Yeah, well, and I'll try to look at some other towns and see what they do for fining and their due dates and everything. We can change it up a little bit, might make sense, or maybe he'll say, I think the way you have it is fine, and then, it's up to you guys if that's what you want to stick with, so. But I do like the idea of making sure they get it in earlier, to give me some time to review everything.
Cause when they send their check in, it has to go down to town clerk's office and they have to check to make sure all the taxes
Yeah,
and
taxes
everything's
are
paid.
paid.
Yeah.
And then we have to get the paperwork back.
Right, so that way too, if someone. Say someone submits, and it will be on the e-permitting, so. Say someone submits the application. And then it would go through the software, it would go to the clerk's office and they say, oh, there's taxes, we're not gonna sign off. If they do it when it's, 30 days before they open. That gives them all the time. Oh, it gives them a
Yeah.
whole month to be notified, oh, you owe taxes, we can't issue the permit. They can get everything in and, get their taxes paid. Make everybody happy, and it won't be on, December 30th. That I'm calling them and saying, hey, you need to pay your taxes, town hall closes in an hour. And otherwise we can't give you your permit. So it would help them in the long run too, I think, it might be a little tough at first, especially with everyone's gonna be transitioning to a new system and, they're used to being able to do it a certain time, but they'll adjust, and it is, they need this permit to operate their business, and
Okay, so it's just
Yeah.
not it's just not them paying, they have to still put all their paperwork in for the.
right, so and that's how, I think that's how this is. On the conditions for issuance, the Board of Health may renew a permit for an existing food establishment or may issue a permit to a new owner after a properly completed application is submitted, reviewed, and approved. So that fees are paid. So that would mean they did, submit their certifications and all of that is part of the application, so.
So our regulations don't deal with that, they just deal with if they haven't. These are for
Right,
this is,
yeah.
if they haven't done that,
Right.
this is what happens.
Right,
So we don't even
So-
have that in here.
right, so what we were initially gonna do to the regs was make it a little more clear to say that. If you, just because you paid doesn't mean you're not gonna get fined. We were gonna say, cause that's how the past practice has been, is, if they give an incomplete application and the check. We won't fine them.
But now we
But
are.
we still try to chase them down for their serve safe or their choke saving or whatever. Which
But
ends
now-
up being a lot of work, so,
But now we are finding.
right,
Cause it,
right. But technically I guess technically by the food code, we didn't need to, I guess for the fines, we would need to,
Yeah,
but
for the fines we need.
so. So yeah, so we'll see what town council says. I'll look at some other regs from other towns and see if anything makes sense. Um. But I think by moving it up, then we're not. Cause I think essentially we're allowing them, I wouldn't feel comfortable going to shut a place down for operating without a permit. When our regs say. The permit's not due, or the application's not due till January 1st, and the fee is $50 a week. So they're gonna say, what is it? $50 a week for the fine, or you shut me down? That doesn't.
Hmm.
I'd rather say get it in on time, or you can't open.
Yeah.
So. So we'll see. So anyway,
What if you wanna write out how you wanna word it?
yeah, I
That's the
will.
thing,
I will. I'll write it. I'll write something out. I'll look at some other towns.
and I'll try to get it in here.
We'll,
We want these to be in effect of this year.
right, we'll see what town council says, and then, we'll have to have a public hearing. And anyway, so, or we don't have to, but we should have
No,
a
we
public
should.
hearing. So. So we'll do that and then come up with a final draft. So I'll work on that this next month, hopefully get some feedback. I think Sue and I had discussed that we should just table the choke,
Yeah,
the choke saving one for now. And if we do want to do it, we can do that as a separate regulation. I found another town that has had one in place since, I think it was, what was it, 94?
using manual, right?
From, yeah, just the manual, the training, the manual, not the devices. And it's like a 1 or 2 page regulation. So I think we could pass that at another time, but right now with the FDA being kind of up in the air on those choke saving devices, might as well see where the cards fall there before we make any decisions on that. Because I think those could be really, if those are found to work well enough that those could be used in lieu of the training. I think a lot of restaurants would like that, rather than having to train a bunch of employees and whatever. But so we'll see where that falls, and I do think it's something we should definitely continue to keep on our radar. And then for our fee schedule, I put that back in on for the agenda today. Because Nicole had suggested, when I was talking to her, anytime we change fees, once again, it's not required, but it's a good idea to do the public hearing. So maybe we do our fee schedule at the same time as we do the food regulations. So hopefully that will line up with the getting information from our e-permitting and seeing exactly how we want to set that up and how we want to change the fees. And then getting the feedback for the food regs, and hopefully we can pass it and do the hearing, and maybe, I guess it'd have to be October,
No,
November, do the hearing and then
not if they're gonna get,
pass.
no, they have to get their things in by
Yeah.
December 1st.
Well, we could always do, that's one of the things, you don't always have to. You can, we could do a grace period. We could say, this year, since it's a new system, we don't have to. Cause it's like, that's how it's worded, is the Board of Health may do enforcement. We don't have to do enforcement. So we could just say, all right, this year. We're not gonna do the late fee this year, since everyone's switching to a new system and some people are gonna have trouble with it, so. But, so we'll keep this conversation going, I think, and hopefully it'll all line up and we can get it done before the end of the year and switch the fining script structure, switch the fee schedule, and switch the permitting system all at once. Like ripping a Band-Aid off, just get it done, so.
Yep. Yep.
So I think it'll be good in the long run.
So for these food regs, we should probably take what the state says word for word.
Yeah.
Put it in here.
Yeah.
And then address.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, I'll see what some other towns have done. Cause it's always easier to borrow from other regs that have already been reviewed and sometimes even already legally tested in court, so. All right,
Okay, tobacco regs. I made the changes we talked about.
Yep.
At least I think I did it right. I added prohibition of smoking in membership associations.
okay,
And took out that other thing about no nicotine pouches or
Yeah.
something. And I got rid of those people who were born after such and such a date.
yep,
Oh, yeah, I see a typo here. And I added in the definition of a membership association,
okay,
which I took off our old regs.
perfect,
And I don't know, is there anything else?
I think that was it. So that one, I don't think there's anything controversial on that, I think it's all pretty straightforward. So that one we can. We'll have to do the hearing on that as well, and I sent that to legal counsel, so.
Yeah. I just have to, I know it's not fun reading.
Right.
but just to make sure that, there's no typos, which I just saw one.
Yeah, okay,
And this would probably be all set to go. Well, we won't vote on it until we have the hearing and then you vote on it.
right,
Okay,
right, so I don't know how the timing will work out, but. Would it be crazy to try and do the tobacco and the food hearing one? Yeah, that would be crazy, as soon as I say it out loud, no, you don't think? You
I
think do
say,
both?
like, you're talking about rip the Band-Aid. Let's just
just do
Do
it.
do it
tobacco,
all.
food and fee
Mm-hmm.
schedule, all in
Yeah,
one fell swoop.
so if somebody is interested in all three of them or two of them, they can just come to one thing.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, maybe that would
Let's try it
be
for October. First-
October.
First Thursday in October. Do you know
Okay.
what your schedule is in October yet?
Hold on a
Terry?
second and yeah, I am in Miami.
The first Thursday?
Yep. Second Thursday, I'm here. But I can also join, I'm not sure what time, I'm an hour earlier here. I can also join by Zoom, but I think it might be good if I'm there in person, but I'm already scheduled, so.
Well, if we have to, I'll be hearing the second Thursday, so Terry can be here.
Yeah, could do that.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's just better to have it in person.
Yeah.
In person.
Yeah. Or we
I'd
could
feel
do,
better in person.
we could do. So let's jump ahead to that for our next meeting, we're meeting on the 29th of this month. And then, if I recall correctly, Terry, you're on vacation the first 2 weeks of September,
Yes,
and you have the Big E
Thursday
For-
nights.
for the rest of September. So what if we skip our September meeting, have a regular meeting, and Terry, hopefully you can Zoom for the first with our normal meeting in October, and then do a meeting that's just the hearing, maybe
following
the second or third week of October.
The
Yeah.
second one, the sooner the better.
yeah, that
Yeah.
would work. That would work.
Okay. Okay. So next meeting is August 29th, and then September. No meeting. October. Normal first Thursday
And then the second Thursday of a hearing.
and hearing.
I don't know if this room will be available though.
Yeah, I'll have to find out. Hearing would be second Thursday. Okay,
So the tobacco regs are no problem. It's just the food regs you're going over.
Yep.
And the
Yep.
fee schedule, we're gonna take that,
yeah,
we're not going to increase any of the food.
yeah,
It's just gonna be, everything else gonna be
okay,
increased, except for, I think repair,
yeah,
septic repair.
all right,
And we vote on those after we have the hearing.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah, so we would then, I guess we could vote. Well, it would be up to the board to decide at the hearing, because you don't necessarily have to vote immediately after the hearing. You just have to have a hearing, and then you could close the hearing and then vote right then and there, or we could wait until the next, depending on what feedback we got. If we wanted to make edits, then based on the hearing, then you could vote at the next meeting.
so let's, schedule, it's a hearing and a meeting the second Tuesday, so we'll close the hearing. And
And
then if we wanna vote,
Yeah.
yes or no,
yeah,
then we can vote. So it'd be a hearing and a meeting,
yeah, okay, sounds good.
the second Thursday.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because even if you want to make changes. And vote at the meeting, at the next meeting, you would still want to discuss that. So it would make sense to have a meeting either way. So, okay, perfect.
All right, and you're gonna reword what you wanna say in here, and I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I'll
Yeah,
incorporate it.
and
or-
I'll hopefully I'll get feedback this week or next week, and then
You've got
I'll
the-
try to get that out
right,
at least a week before
you have
our,
the Word version of this. so we
yes, I
can
do, yeah.
Add it where you need to add it, and we can take a look at it.
Okay, sounds good.
All set with that, Terry?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So. What are we on now?
All right, so now
Report.
my report, so, I feel like I'm missing some septic stuff on here, because it's only been 3 weeks, I guess, since our last meeting, but I feel like I could have missed something on here, because I was trying to rush out the agenda on Monday afternoon, but. Did have done a few perk tests, 306 Feeding Hills, that is, that lot. With, I think, I don't remember what used to be there, but,
Thank you.
Thank you.
it before, by the Longies and the shooting range.
Mhm.
That lot kind of in the front there, they're planning to put up a duplex, so. We did two perk tests there, it's gonna be one lot, but they're gonna, each side of the duplex is gonna have a separate septic system. 6 Loomis Street. Is a pretty, I don't remember the size of the lot, but
North or
there's
south, Loomis.
South Loomis. Oh, yeah, I should have put that on there, good catch. 6, bless you,
My sinuses are wacky down here.
oh, yeah, all the
Uh,
allergens you're not used to.
So 4
Ugh.
lots. Where
A
are
lot.
these?
Yeah, so there's one house on the lot.
Oh, is this back toward the Connecticut line?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so it's, I think there's only one property in between, actually, they might have bought Connecticut, I don't remember.
Okay.
But, there's one house there, it's a very big lot, so they're splitting it up
To 4
to
lots.
four lots. Actually, maybe, I think the house is on, there's 4 new lots, so I think 5 total is the plan. And 202 South Long Yard Road was a repair perk. And then also I did get another request to use an old perk.
Have we even had those in years?
I know, we're getting them all the time. My personal opinion, I think we should get rid of the expiration in our code,
No, 'cause you
Um,
wanna, no.
but cause I think, in my opinion, I think the Title V covers it
No, because after 5 years, you
sufficiently.
want to look at it.
Well, I would look at it anyway when I review the plan,
So
but anyway,
you wanna know for-
um,
what is this for?
so this one is for a lot on 157 Vining Hill Road. And,
Work was done.
there. Oh, that's the third one. The perk was done in 2000, but nothing has changed.
Is that the plan from 2000?
Yeah,
They never put it
they
in.
never put in, I don't think they ever built a house. So just.
And it's
for
new
what?
construction.
Construction, yeah. So I did tell him, he needs a new plan. He can't use this plan. But they did perks, up by the house, and then they also did perks down by the road.
So wait a minute, for new construction,
For new construction, yeah.
up by where the house is proposed to be. There's no house there yet.
No house there yet,
Okay.
yeah. So they requested to use the existing perks, from 2000 and 2005.
They did one from 2000 and 2005.
Yeah, that's how they had it on here.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
Me, Matthew
Yeah,
and Barry.
very much, very. And we have, um,
Witnessed by Tom.
Yeah.
So, wait a minute, why? What was the problem? So they had one that was witnessed by Dennis LaCourse. He must have been helped us out.
Yeah.
And then one that was witnessed by T Fitzgerald. Who's T Martin?
whoever did the perk
You engineer?
must be.
And so Tom, basically, if somebody did a perk 20 years ago, we would expect that it doesn't change if they're trying to perk it in the same place, or help me understand that.
Yeah, so basically the perk tests, they do a perk test and then they also do 2 deep holes. The perk, they pour the water in the hole based on the rate that the water drains.
Yeah.
Put a ruler in the hole, and based on how quickly it goes down, that determines how large the leach field needs to be. And then the deep holes are, if you look at the soil, based on the coloring of the soil, and sometimes you see the water weeping in, you can tell what the seasonal high groundwater is. And the system needs to be, generally, there's a lot of different ways around it, but generally it needs to be at least 4 feet. The bottom of the septic system needs to be 4 feet above the seasonal high groundwater.
Okay.
So that is when,
Why do you disapprove it?
there wasn't a well permit at the time. He had a note about that. But we would get a new plan anyway. So, but anyway, so the when you see the mounded septic systems, that's because there's high groundwater. So those are the kind of the 2 most important things from the perk test is where's groundwater and how long does the perk take?
Okay.
So generally, the way in Title V, the way the code is written, perk tests are good indefinitely, provided you can still tell where the perk was. They usually will mark the perks with a piece of PVC pipe, and then they put it in the ground and it's still there, 20
Okay.
years later. So that way we can confirm, okay, this is actually where the perk was. And then also that the site hasn't changed. So if it was a forested area and they clear the whole forest and change the grades, or bring in a lot of fill. Sometimes they'll strip off fill to use on another property or something. So if there's a case like that, then we would say, okay, you need to re-perk it. This is not,
Okay,
this isn't valid. And that's in that's what Title V says. And then the Southwick septic regulation says, if it's more than 5 years old, it's expired.
yeah, I
It
remember
should
that
be-
from the last
should
meeting.
be- Yeah. So the one at the last meeting was the one on Noble Steed. And that one was actually expired, but also where the perks were, they had brought in fill. That's where they put the gravel for their driveway. So there was no way to tell where those perks were. And obviously they wouldn't, that's where you need to put your septic system, is where the perks were. So if their driveway's there, that's not somewhere you can put your septic system.
Okay,
So that is what Title V says, and then, so in my opinion, if these perks, I haven't been out myself, but the property owner, when he came in yesterday, he did say the pipes are still there. So I think that would be, you know,
So you're gonna
pretty
take a
clear.
look?
Yeah, I can go out and take a look.
So they're gonna use the perk. This perk here by the house is how much?
19 minutes an inch.
What does it say there? Okay. And groundwater,
Groundwater was at 12 inches.
built up system.
Yeah, it'll be mounted.
So who is the engineer this time?
He hasn't hired anyone yet.
And that's a copy of our book.
Yeah, this is Tom's notes.
So do you want to accept this perk after Tom goes out and inspects the site,
yeah, I'm good with that.
19 minutes per inch? Gonna
Okay.
second that?
Yeah,
Okay, Sue Brosk in favor.
Terry Putnam in favor.
That's if Tom inspects and it's fine, and if it's fine.
Yeah.
And any conservation, we have to go through conservation again?
Yeah, they'll have to do all that. All that. The only thing is they just won't have to do the perk test, but the engineer will have to go out and shoot their own grades, do a whole new plan, so. So it'll still go through all the normal process. It's just that they won't have to do the perk, so.
Okay. All right, plan approval?
Plan approval, 10 Davis Road was a repair, and actually I inspected that yesterday.
So that's a final inspection too.
Yep. And, 3, I think that, like I said earlier, I was rushing it out. I think there was more plan approvals, but, I'll try to track them down further and put them on the next report.
Yeah,
366 North Loomis Road, that was a repair. 717 College Highway, that was a repair, just a tank replacement. And 18 Hudson Road, that is the new Wally Computer Building. And that was, I had inspected the tank a couple weeks ago, and I inspected the leach field, the second leach field today, actually. The first tank and the first leach field that I inspected last year. So they're fine. They have 2 systems there, so everything's in now. So I would anticipate we'll get all the paperwork and be able to do the COC sooner than later. Housing, did another housing inspection over at the villages, the Southwick Villages, and it was a tenant had an issue with moths getting into the enclosed porch. which, initially Kyle, the building inspector, went with me and we initially explained, that's more of the, outdoor space. It's not your living space. It's not part of the apartment. It was like a 3-season, screen porch. And well, it was screen and it had glass. It was all glass, but it was, more of an outdoor space than an indoor space. However, he did provide a copy of the, exterminator's report, and the exterminator had, documented that there was some issues, and had made some recommendations, to the property owners. Southwick Care, I think, is the LLC. So I did, that was the violation. I said, provide me with all your documentation from the exterminator, and that you did, what they recommended to prevent the entry of pests into the apartment. So I don't think it was anything crazy. I think it should be a pretty easy fix for them. So but that one I just inspected the other day. I just threw it in the mail today. So we'll see where that goes. Petruno's Place was a food truck that came to town hall. We did the inspection there. Southwick Town Beach, the knock on wood, tests have been all really good. Mostly in the teens and 20s.
Good.
I did a test Tuesday. So I should get the results tomorrow. See if I got them in the past hour. Sometimes they come a little late in the evening, and nope, not yet. So should get those tomorrow, and only got a few weeks left in the season, so hopefully they will continue to be good.
Go back to this Petruno's Place food truck, where
Yeah.
they're gonna be located.
They do some events at Westfield River Brewing,
Okay. All right,
some of the concerts, and then Hampden County Health Coalition, we had a meeting today. And I think I told you the last one, previously our fiscal agent had been Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, and they've parted ways. So we are currently working with the FRCOG is what everyone calls it. It's the Franklin Regional Council of Governments, and they help a lot of things in Western Mass beyond Franklin County, but they seem to be really good so far. So that's still going through a lot of changes, and so that'll be interesting. But yeah, we talked today they had a presentation about the WebE Emergency Operations Center for when there's, state emergencies, if we needed to do an emergency dispensing site. So they did a training on that, and which was good because some of our information on there was a little out of date. So I was able to update that, and still had
now are you the secretary or something?
no, not for
an
them.
officer?
No,
Okay.
for Western Mass Public Health Association. I'm
What's
on
going on with OSHA, your OSHA stuff?
OSHA, we had a safety meeting. I should have put that on the agenda. We had a safety meeting last week. Yeah. And our game plan is to Department of Labor Services from the state. They actually are the ones that enforce OSHA in Mass. They have a lot of checklists for municipalities. So I'm gonna work with Russ Anderson, and we're gonna kind of go through our policies and procedures and all the facilities, and kind of go through that. We meet quarterly, so before our next meeting, we'll get that done and kind of see where we stand, what still needs to be done, and that sort of thing. So
is it better now that we have Kayleen?
yes, better now that we have Kayleen, and I think it will once Samantha starts next Wednesday.
Oh, we have a secretary, Terry.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, so we refilled the position, so she'll be similar to how the position was before. She'll be covering Board of Health and the planning board, and it'll be a full-time position. So
Very good.
she starts on Wednesday of next week. So so that will
So we'll
be
have to meet with her.
that will be good. So she should be at our end of August meeting.
Okay,
So
I'll
good.
just show her the minutes and how I want them done.
And she's a recent grad. I think she was an English major, so
Oh, wow. That'd be a
So-
lot of help.
yeah, so that'll be good.
Do you have anything you want to add, Terry?
I don't think so. I think this, you know, we covered a lot last time. So no, I'm good.
So you'll be in person August 29th?
Yes, I think. Hold
You
on,
are.
hold on, just a second. Yes, I will be.
Okay, so see you then. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, want to adjourn the meeting at 6:55?
Yeah, that's good. So moved that we adjourn the meeting. Adjourn, yeah, that too.
Join, the new
Been one
word.
of those days.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, I second that. All in favor?
Terry Putnam.
Sue Braska, yes. All right, thank you. Have a